So what Jesus was truly teaching his people, we're talking about eyewitness now, the people who wrote the words of Jesus, they have none of it. Now that's why textual criticism scholars, they say there is a source called Q source, there's a source called M source, there's a source called whatever source. They say these sources are missing today, we don't have them. The people copied from them. Who copied, we don't know. Random authors copied from this guy, from this guy, from that guy. So you cannot transmit this information. This is not eyewitness accounts. Eyewitness is people who were there, and that time they wrote down, we witnessed this happening. That's why I'm saying there isn't a single eyewitness account that you have from the time that witnessed the crucifixion. The disciples, that's what I'm telling you, all the information you have about the disciples are in the Bible that comes 400 years later, written by unknown people. The problem is you're just believing what you're told without looking where it's from. Now the Quran, for example, I'm going to respond to you now. By the way, that's a fallacy. It's called what about you, what aboutism, right? Whenever I tell you something, wait.
I'm replying to you, what you said to me exactly back to you. It's a mirror.
But that's what I'm telling you, it's a fallacy. Why? Because even if you're right, even if I have nothing, that doesn't mean that now you have something. You got my point?
I'm not debating the fact that I have something because you have nothing.
So you agree you don't have anything?
Your point.
Sure, so that you're admitting...
We have to both agree that we don't have anything.
No, so first let's agree what you're saying, then I'll respond to your point. First we agree, there isn't anything you have from the first century, there's no reliable information, there's no eyewitness account. Then we come to the Quran, you ask me the question, because you're not aware. You ask me the question, okay, what about you as a Muslim? Okay, I'll respond to you very easily. We have manuscripts of the Quran from the first century, full manuscripts. You have the Sana'a manuscript, it's 15,000 parchments that date back to 950 Qurans from the first century onwards. Top copy manuscript, you can go right now to Turkey and see it. Full Quran from the first late first century and the early second century. We have the Birmingham parchment here in Birmingham in the UK. You can go to it, it's from the life of the Prophet and it records parts of the Quran. But we don't rely on that anyways. We have all of that, but we rely on the memorization of the Quran. We memorize the Quran from beginning to end, word for word, we recite it. You know, Ramadan, you go to any mosque, you'll see the Imam reciting the Quran, 3 parts from memory. If he makes any mistake, the person will correct him because we memorize not only not the words but the vowels.
How does it make a factual that what's inside the Quran is true because it's memorized?
No, I already told you about the manuscripts.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's
yes.
the manuscripts?
There's something called carbon dating. Do you know what carbon dating is?
Who gave these manuscripts? Yeah. Who wrote the Quran?
Do you know what carbon dating is?
No.
You don't know what carbon dating is? Radiocarbon dating is where you look at the parchment and you see how far back it dates in history. Okay, so when this parchment comes from. So the parchment itself is written from the life of the Prophet. We compare it to what we have today is the same exact thing. Now you see 15,000 parchments in all over the world. All of these parchments, they know that Christianity is not the same. That's the argument I'm making.
There was a river where there was, what's the word called?
Parchments? Yeah.
Where they were found that related exactly to the stories that are in the Bible. I couldn't give you the exact.
No, you're probably talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that. Dead Sea Scrolls, not a river. You're probably talking about but Dead Sea Scrolls are not about the New Testament. It's about only Isaiah, majority Isaiah, and few parts of the Old Testament. That's it.
But it's connected.
No. The Dead Sea Scrolls is talking about Isaiah only in the Old Testament and a few parts of the Old Testament, and it's rejected by Jewish people. So this is about the Old Testament. We're talking about the New Testament now. New Testament, you have nothing. That's the point I'm making. In first century, nothing. Second, by the way, you don't need to take my word for it. Right now, you can open your phone, Google what I'm telling you. What is the earliest full extant manuscript of the New Testament? It will tell you the code is Sinaiticus, then the code is Vaticanus. I'll tell you the names of the manuscript. I've researched these things. I'm not telling you what I think, right? You can go to textual criticism scholars, Bruce Mesker, see what he's going to tell you. Bart Ehrman, these are Christians. Bart Ehrman left Christianity. Bruce Mesker is a Christian. Now, done what?
A lot left Israel.
No, the point I'm making, he's a textual criticism scholar. Yeah. So he studied the manuscripts and then he tells you it's in the manuscript. I only told you he left.
Scholars that have proved the crucifixion of Jesus.
No. I only told you he left so I can be honest with you that he's not Christian anymore. But still, he talks about the textual criticism scholar. I'm not making that as a point, therefore Islam is true or something. I'm making a point that your own scholars in your own tradition admit that you don't have the original sources. It's written by anonymous people. The Gospels that you have nothing from the first century. So that's the point I'm making. But again, that is a separate point. Even though this is the case for you, I'm saying, okay, let's look at what you have. Even though it's not reliable historically, we're still looking at it. You cannot justify your belief from it. I told you about Jesus, not knowing the Mark 13:32. Do you know what it says? It says about that day and hour. Nobody knows. Not the angels in heaven. Yeah. Then he says, not the Son, only the Father. If he says only the Father knows something, Jesus doesn't know it, the Holy Spirit doesn't know it, how can they all be God? God knows everything all the time. Jesus fell on his face and he prayed to God. The Garden of Gethsemane. Why have you forsaken me? What God says, why have you forsaken me? What God asks for help? What God falls on his face and prays? What God says, I by myself can do nothing. In John chapter 5 verse 30, Jesus says, I by myself can do nothing.